Hey, Shalom, Akim Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that is due to Yahweh. Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the whole elect. It was in the gospel, bro. Lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just a quick lesson through the spirit, going into the civil unrest that's currently brewing across the world. This one in particular is Peru. It says thousands march on Peru's capital as unrest spread, setting buildings ablaze. And I believe that was like one of the federal buildings. And not to speak, you had one that went ablaze in Brazil like 4 years ago. But reportedly, there may be another in these particular protests that's happening around the world. Because for one thing, they protesting the resignation of these particular leaders and setting up these particular dictators from the West. Inflation, tax reform, oppression, the C-19 lockdowns, and the list goes further. Okay, people are getting to the point that they're tired. They're tired of the oppression from the Western governments, because a lot of the tyranny that you're seeing in like communist countries like China, a lot of those Gestapo tactics they get from the West themselves. Even though China, is very communist, well, it was at first, but nonetheless, they're using the same tactics that Babylon the Great or America will use on their citizens, because we're coming into the time of martial law, Jacob's trouble, and all hell breaking loose on the planet Earth. So with that being said, this is just an article. But before we go there, I looked up federal buildings on fire in Peru, and these are just some of the images. And they fucking this place up. And you got to ask yourself this: these people are oppressed, but look at you people in America. Okay, you deal with a lot of more oppression than some. You deal with the oppression just as much as these other nations. But see, the difference between them and you is the fact you're docile when you're brain dead. Okay, you're stupid because you're under the illusion of what they call freedom, democracy, right? People's rule. See, that's your whole hyphen there to keep you in a state of docility. But you people, if you had any type of idea how you were being robbed, how you were being played, how you were being looted, you're being stripped of your rights by the second, you'll be on this type shit too. Because when you read in some of these articles and some of these comment boards and some of the non-censored media, you got people in Babylon right now that's ready to go up against the society, because they did a poll after the whole January 6th finagle, I say it that way. They did a poll and they said over 50 to 60% of you Babylonians are willing to go hand in hand with your governments, man. Okay? So with that being said, we're in the times of civil unrest. But see, with you Americans, you got to be pushed further. Okay, they got to take away your bread and circus, your food, your liquor, shit like that. Your basketball games, your football games. They got to take away your ability of being so-called free before you do any goddamn thing. Because the fact that you have a Federal Reserve, you have what they call Title 4D that we're being robbed under. You have the tax, the IRS. That's more than enough of a reason for people to go to the streets and start fucking shit up. But they're not going to do that. Why? Because these people, they're literally that goddamn stupid. Okay? Because you're full of GMO. You dumbed down by these retarded television shows. You all calcified. Just with the GMO foods, man. The water is poison. The air is poison. And you're totally in a state of docility, of being docile, man. Okay? So, but nonetheless, this is coming to Babylon the Great. You got a lot of reports on it. You got a lot of, I believe it was in Atlanta the other day, protests and riots have broke out. I forgot what it was about. I know Dabu covered it, didn't watch the video, just came across my timeline, but it did state that there were protesters in Atlanta. But matter of fact, I can look it up real quick. Why be lazy, right? Protesters in Atlanta. Let's see what it says. It says, Stop Cop City movement led to violent downtown protests against Atlanta police. Okay. So let's see what this is about. Because this is the start of these particular riots. Like, you got the BLM, but that's only for a few. Jay could get pissed off and go and loot and rob. But in fact, a lot of these protesters like Antifa and all this other shit, see, when shit happen, it be Esau that be sending shit to the moon, man. It don't be you stupid ass Jakes. You Jakes don't do a goddamn thing but destroy your own neighborhood. Same thing doing the Watts riots. During the Rotten King riots, what you niggas do? You go and you destroy your own fucking neighborhoods. You don't go to Esau Edom and fuck up his shit, but you go to your own people already in poverty and destroy your own goddamn neighborhoods. Places, in fact, you have to shop. And then you get mad when you don't have the resources available to build in the community. Well, dumbass, stop destroying your neighborhoods, man. But it says Atlanta riots, how Stop Cop City movement led to violent night in downtown. Oh, so here it go. And I want to see how this started. This was 7 hours ago. It says law enforcement said a protester whose law enforcement identified as a 26-year-old Manuel Epstein or Esteban Page Tehran opened fire on a Georgia State Patrol trooper before officers returned fire. It says the violent downtown was part of ongoing tensions that have happened for more than a year in Atlanta and in DeKalb County, while law enforcement said environmental activists camping out in the forest have fought against the training facility's construction by committing crimes. It says protesters say the facility will destroy the waterleaf forest and expand law enforcement in the area. So basically, they're trying to stop that from happening because they feel that they're too policed. Okay, and this is just a beginning of the sorrows to come to Babylon the Great, because you cops, man, you have a bad blood. You have a lot of people that want your head, man. Okay? You have a lot of people that want, and mainly it's these Edomites, man. You fucking niggas, you ain't gonna do shit. You ain't gonna do nothing until they take all your funding, your federal funding. They take away your food stamps. And they're talking about cutting these government subsidies. They take away your child support. That's when Jake is gonna start to want to do something. When they take away everything that made you feel like a comfortable slave. But nonetheless, these things are gonna come to Babylon sooner than later, because new climate lockdowns, inflation, fucking the Fed, this witch, what's her name, Janet Yellen? I believe she's like one of the top people of the Fed, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, she's talking about taking people's pensions, taking people's tax returns, because we know how you niggas get geeked for tax return. You cheat on your taxes, you get all this money back, and then you end up owing their ass $1 billion and wondering why you finna get locked up. But regardless of it, they want to take your your money and steal it from you to fund this damn war, to fund their particular programs, to fund their the creating of this defensive systems for this new world war that's brewing up. Because they stated that, look, if the Ukrainian war is lost, then you had the pandemic war, the war in the pandemic, you had the war in Ukraine, and now that's going to lead to World War III, possibly. And then on top of that, we're on the verge of a global collapse, which, certain news media has reported on a third of the world's economies hitting a recession this year. So the chips are in place, man. All the dominoes are in place, and the only thing we have to do is knock them down. All right. Let's see here. Yep, because people are fed up. It says charges announced for those arrests and protests over controversial Cop City and fatal police shooting of activists. All right, so let's play this video real quick, and I got a couple of precepts here. It's nothing too deep, but it's just straightforward. These are the prophecies, and this is what the Most High said, what was going to happen before he sent Yahushua back to gather his elect. So let me see this real quick. Let's play this. That's if it plays.
The George brothers did not start the opioid crisis, but they poured gasoline on the fire.
People were dying because of them.
This was just batshit crazy.
American Pain, Sunday, February 5th at 9 on CNN.
So let's just put a little context for viewers who probably aren't following what's been happening with Cop City, and nearly $200 million investment in what's called a law enforcement training center. It's something that will train future cops, one hopes, in lawful ways. It also trains citizens, emergency managers, and others. It's been under protest. It's called Cop City. It's been dubbed Cop City, and it's been under protest for a very long while. This last week, there was an altercation. The details are unknown. But one of the protesters of Cop City was killed in flight and was also armed. That's going to be investigated. So,
see, a lot of these talking heads in these news, they don't even know what the hell they be talking about. They just be reporting on just nonsense because they're told what to say. You got to understand that the news only covers a very small amount of actual news. They don't cover what's really happening to Jake and what's happening around the world and how people are protesting certain things. They only focus on these controlled narratives. is what we've been trying to say. Okay, so anyway, let's play the rest of it, and I'm going to get a couple of precepts, and we're going to shut it down.
Tensions were high in any event. To me, this is clearly violence. I understand David's point in the sense of course, there's a qualitative difference between shooting people or dragging people and violence against buildings. But people live in those buildings. People have their homes in those buildings. I think I lost you for a second. People have their homes in their buildings, their businesses in their buildings. We don't know how this unfolds. And so the elevation of it clearly had to be stopped relatively quickly by the police, which happened. And I think it is telling that most of these people are not from Atlanta, not even from Georgia. These organizations, those who want to disrupt peaceful protest often come in to interrupt. So it looks like it's under control now, but but
it's under control because it's controlled opposition, like Antifa and all these other groups, the BLM, all that shit is controlled opposition. Okay, but it's gonna come to a point that you're not gonna be able to control the narrative no more, and people are gonna start taking matters in their own hands, because you gotta ask yourself this: if it wasn't controlled, then why the hell hasn't nobody really? I mean, people die, but why hasn't anybody let off any real shots at these protests? Because it's to the point that when martial law catch you outside of jurisdiction, it is going to blow you away. Okay, bar none. No ifs, ands, or buts. All right. So anyway, let's get here, the book of Isaiah, the 19th chapter. Because people are getting fed up with the tyrannical systems. And when they collapse this system, when this whole new monetary system comes in, you better believe you're going to have riots and chaos all over the place until they establish order out of chaos. Okay, and they're going to come in with this new system, and they're going to wean people back to sleep, but you're still going to have a group of people that's going to protest this thing, man, and they're going to continue to take matters in their own hands because they know that this system is basically of oppression, okay? Unlike you simple ass jakes. You go back, you believe any damn thing, But anyway, this is the book of Isaiah 19, and I'm going to start at verses 1. It says, the burden of Egypt, behold, and this Egypt is talking about America. Okay, spiritually, it says, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and he cometh to Egypt, and the idols of Egypt should be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt should melt in the midst of it, right? Okay, because what is the heart? The mindset of the people, okay, the people's deeds, and the Most High is going to melt this place with ICBM nuclear missiles, right? In the chariots, okay? He's going to break the pride of these people because these people are extremely proud, they're haughty, they're entitled, okay, and they don't know Yahweh Bashim and Yahweh Shai, and this is the time of the judgment. And it reads here, and it says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom, okay? And this is basically what's happening around the world, okay? Going back to the whole event in Peru, let me backtrack on that. This is the article I actually pulled up from Reuters. It says, thousands march on Peru's capital as unrest spreads, buildings set ablaze. All right. And it says thousands of protesters in Peru, many from the country's heavily indigenous south, descended on Lima, the capital, on Thursday, angered by a mounting death toll since unrest erupted last month and calling for a sweeping change. It says police estimated the march at around 3,500 people, but others speculated it attracted more than double than that. It says rows of police in riot gear faced off against rock-hurling protesters on some streets, and one historic building in the city's historic center caught fire late on Thursday. And if you Babylonians took heed to this, hey, you'll be snatching those fucking Title 4D magistrates, okay, those administrative assistants who call themselves judges. You'll literally be going and you'll literally be putting them in their place for taking your money, especially you Jakes. Because Jake, you're heavily afflicted with child support due to the wickedness of the fucking black woman, man. Okay? You're heavily afflicted in the child support system. You're oppressed by it. And now that curse is falling upon them Edomites too. Because Esau's, it's common for an Edomite to be on that child support shit too. And that's not the only thing. The fact that you're being taxed to death. Okay, you're being taxed. You don't have the ability to file exempt. Well, you can file exemptions, but it was a allowance they allowed you to file a couple of years ago when you can choose to elect to have the less taxes taken out of your check. Can't do that no more, man. Especially if you're a Jake. Okay? Now, if you making money and you're part of a particular race or group or a particular zip code, they off the bat enter you into a higher tax bracket. Okay, because certain Edomites, I believe, and this is just my opinion, I believe that certain Edomites that don't pay taxes or that much, they still have that allowance. But as far as me and you brothers and you few sisters that watch, when we do our W-2s, man, hey, they take out already, they already have a preset amount that they gonna take out based on how much you make. So they snatching from you, man. And they're stealing. That's enough for motherfuckers to be in the street doing what they got to do. But you people are stupid, man. All right, you're stupid. But it says here, the building in San Martin Plaza was empty when a massive blaze ignited from the unknown cause, a firefighter told a local radio. It says a Canada-based minor hub base said in a statement that protesters had entered the site of its Peru unit, damaging and burning key machineries and vehicles, man. It says this has not have been a protest. This has been a sabotage of the rule of law because people are going to take matters into their own hands, man. And we're getting to that point. Even here in America, the boiling point. Wait till this new system comes in play and wait till people realize that they've been fucked. Wait till these people start dropping dead from the juice. That's when these people here in Babylon are going to realize that they've been played, that they've been fucked over. Okay, because they too stupid to realize it now. They too, like I was at the store today, man, and I mean, prices are crazy. You know, a bag of a loaf of Sara Lee Wonder Bread, whatever this shit is called. This shit is $4.57. And you got people shopping with these depressed looks on their face, and they have that look of despair and the fact that they can't do anything about it. Okay, people are looking hopeless, man. Hopeless. Hoping that their government is going to get them out, hoping that a new election come so they can find another so-called leader that's going to get them out of this situation. I have you morons that voted for